and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Are you serious?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's just us. We could all sit together.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Barbian?
Present.
Trustee Sell?
Present.
Trustee Unger?
Here.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Here.
Trustee McFall?
Here.
Trustee Olet?
Here.
And President Zabrowski is absent.
President Zabrowski is excused traveling, so we will entertain a motion for a temporary chairperson to run tonight's meeting.
I would like to nominate Ron Barbian to be the chair, temporary chair.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, deliberation, second thoughts?
It's over there.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Barbian?
Abstain.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it. Looking for approval of minutes from the regular board meeting minutes of April 1st, 2025.
Motion to approve the board meeting minutes.
Okay. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you.
From April 1st.
Any questions, comments, changes, anything?
I didn't see anything.
Colleen, Matt, anything?
No.
Okay, then I would ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Barbian?
Affirmative?
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye.
That passes, thank you. Next item is the citizens' comments. Forward. Persons willing to address the board are asked to state their name and address for the record and limit their comments to only one time and limit their comments to 3 minutes or 5 minutes if you're representing a group. Citizens' comments should be addressed to the village board as a body. Any questions or comments directed to an individual, trustee or staff person will be deemed out of order. Please note that the village board can only discuss matters that is listed on this agenda. I'm going to open citizens' comments now, please. Line up to the podium.
Joe Russ, 11600 West Shadow Drive, New Berlin, representing 559997 Bassett Street. Why is there a proposal to put a bathroom in the Daffodil Parkway? There hasn't been a need for one there since forever. Plus the village's portable facilities. We have worked and in some cases fought to keep green space in the village center. And the village center has gone without permanent bathroom facilities since 1938. We really don't need them now. Also, I understand from the last meeting that there is concrete work being done on the access ramp in front of Village Hall. Is there any way they could also address the large crack in the concrete steps that have formed in the front of Village Hall, literally right out there? I know many don't use those steps, but it is a gateway, real gateway to Village Hall. And it's looking kind of bad. The gaps are over an inch wide right now in some areas. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other citizens' comments, please? I see none. Citizens' comments will close. We will have a second citizens' comments at the end of the board meeting. First, the standing committee reports, Finance Committee. First one on the item is discuss the necessary action on the purchase self-contained breathing apparatus units for the fire department, FC 2513. Thank you, Chief.
Hello, just going to revisit what we talked about the middle of last year and then at budget time that it was approved, where we were, our SCBAs, that's our breathing apparatus, packs on our backs when we go into a hazardous environment. They're good for 15 years, and ours are up, along with, we partnered with City of Oak Creek, Hales Corners, and TOSA. This has proven to be a winning formula in the past. We applied for the FEMA grant, Assistance for Firefighters, and at the time when we first did this, thought it was going to be about $200,000, which would be what Greendale's bill would be. But each community, if you get the grant, are needed to pay for 10% of that. So that's how 40,000 originally came up. Once we got into the grant process, I realized that our costs will not be that high. So we went down to, for the budget, $25,000 for the Village of Greendale. And I'm happy to report that we did receive the $817,000 grant for the 4 communities. And with the paper that you probably should have got, you can see that Greendale's cost is going to be $22,496. And we're getting over $135,000 worth of equipment. So with the $25,000 that was set aside for this, in that budget time, that's $2,504 under budget, yet we got everybody's fitted with the proper face pieces, SCBA's, with a couple extra always. We got an extra training pack for our training facility, and this is a big ticket item, and we should be good for the next 15 years.
Great job.
Yeah, nice work.
Finance Committee would like to recommend for the village board to approve the purchase of self-contained breathing apparatus units in the amount of $22,496 as outlined by the chief.
Second the motion?
Second, and I'll open up for questions, discussion. I think I saw you first up.
Yes, just a quick question. What happens with the old equipment?
Some of it we use for training, some of it is no longer, the valves, the connections are no longer applicable with what news out there. We also have a few fire chiefs in the state of Wisconsin that get together, old fire gear that we donate, and they take it to third world countries. We've done that in Menominee Falls. I've seen the chief do it here, and we've donated a few gears that over 10 years old that are turnout gear that we can't wear it anymore, but some of these places will be happy to take it.
Thank you.
Other questions? Trustee Sell, Beckmeyer?
No.
Okay. I would just like to say, I think this is a very necessary thing to save lives in Greendale. I appreciate the effort that you've done in lowering the cost and getting a really good deal for us. And I think it's very important for us to have this for the community.
I agree.
Okay. Then I'll ask for a roll call on this item, please.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye?
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes. Thanks for the presentation, Chief.
Again, nice work.
Thanks.
Next standing committee report is the Planning Commission. Trustee Sell?
No meeting.
Next item would be the Library Board. Trustee Unger?
Yes, we have a meeting tomorrow, but I have 3 quick updates. The library received a $500 donation from the Greendale Women's Club to be used to support the purchase of large print items and CD audio books for adults. This year's summer reading program theme was created in-house again, and this year's theme is Reading is Magical. And right now displayed in the library is St. L's student artwork. So please stop on by and check it out. Thank you.
Questions for Trustee Unger? Next item is the Public Works Committee. Trustee McFall.
No meeting, but as you can kind of see, we're excited to see the playground equipment going up at Community Center, so that's a good thing. So, and also thank our Greendale Public Works Department, of course, for helping the school district remove the J.C. Park equipment for them to get them started and get them going too. So kudos to DPW again. That's it.
Okay. Questions for Trustee McFall?
And when do we expect the community center playground to be done? Do you know?
There,
Should be, all equipment should be installed by.
All the equipment should be installed by the end of the week, and then weather permitting, hopefully next week we can do the poured in place and wood chips, and then it should be done.
Wow, that is fast. Great job.
Board of Health, a couple of things. Last night, we had our CHIP meeting, which is our yearly meeting for Board of Health, where all the components of the Board of Health come together at one spot, which is at the Hose Tower. And remember, under the Board of Health umbrella, there's 5, 6, 7 different groups that do different things. Step Up, Community Alliance, Onward and Onward, they have different things, SAGE. And they call it CHIP, which is the Community Health Improvement Plan. So once a year, we get together with members of all the groups and discuss what our goals are, what we succeeded with in the past, what we want to do going forward for the upcoming year. It was a very engaging 3-hour meeting, and it was worth every minute of it. There were about 25 volunteers there. We had a few no-shows, but that's a pretty good turnout. We also had, which is really interesting, is I think everyone remembers we did a survey for the health department a while ago, and we had the results presented to us. And they were very interesting on the demographics of what the feelings are of the residents on the health, and that it was very, very well documented and very well presented. So I can't give it here, however, I'm sure you could get the results of the survey from the health department, and I urge you to. Health data collected, and it will be compiled into the Community Health Assessment Report later this year, and then you'll be able to pick it up, read it through. I think anyone in the community would find it really interesting. Most information I think people would expect, but there were some things in there that were unique to the people who filled out the surveys, which I found interesting. So it was a very, very good presentation. We had Amber Miller, Associate State Director for AARP, Wisconsin, give a presentation about age-friendly communities. Right here, ARP, remember we won the award a while ago? We are one of the very few communities that are in our second term of 5-year plan of being involved with ARP, and she notated that Greendale is probably farthest along of any community in the state, which is a real credit to Ashley and her crew to be able to get that far. And we need to remember that little Greendale is on the map, whereas a lot of these big communities are not. And so we appreciate that. The staff also shared strategic plans to merge work groups into one larger group to work together. Details we worked out at our first meeting at the Greendale Livable Communities Coalition. It was decided that since we have multiple groups under this umbrella, and all the groups are struggling for volunteers, all the groups are struggling for manpower needs. I think all of our groups across the board, whether you're looking at our volunteer groups, Alliance, GA, all of them need more people. And to go separate ways, it's very difficult, particularly with the health department having so many. So we're combining the resources together into one group and have everybody work together. At first, it was announced, everyone accepted it very well and gave lots of good ideas about merging together, and health department's taken on the green markets coming forward too. That's just one more thing. The Community Alliance, one of the groups under the umbrella, will be part of this also, but they also will still be on their own as they are grant funded. And but we mentioned that we will want hopefully them to participate with the other programs also, because we need all the help we can as we continue to fulfill the needs of the community that the health department does all the time. It all comes down to people. And for the hundreds of people that are watching our broadcast, please volunteer for these groups to sign up. We could use your help. And just stop in the health department. They'll be happy to assist you. That concludes the health department report for tonight. Is there any questions? In that case, I'm going to turn it over to our subcommittees, which is Community Health Alliance, which is Trustee Unger.
Yes, I have a couple updates, but first to piggyback on Trustee Barbian's report about the CHIP Summit. I was there for part of it. I had to leave for another meeting, but the survey results revealed that residents are most concerned about obesity and fitness, mental health, substance use, including vaping and alcohol use in our community. And now on to Community Alliance. I attended the Anxious Generation Community Conversation last Wednesday at the Hose Tower. There was a pretty good turnout of concerned parents, and the presenters were Holly Miller of Community Alliance, who gave an overview of the book. And she also sent around, if you haven't read the book, she also sent around a really good summary of the book by the author. It's a 45-minute video, and I'll pass that on to the village board. So if you haven't read the book, which is very heavy on statistics, his summary in the video is really, really good. So I'll send that to the board. So she gave a presentation on the book, which I've talked about before. It explores the overprotection of children in the real world and the underprotection of children in the virtual world, which has caused a rapid increase in anxiety among our youth. The director of People Services from the school district was there who spoke, and a guidance counselor from the middle school also gave a presentation. And her presentation was really good. She talked about that profound increase in anxiety among her middle school students over the last 10 years, which also coincides with the decline in academic performance. Pam from the Children's Garden was there and gave a short presentation on how children and with their parents can get involved with the garden in an effort to improve their mental health by getting them outdoors, off their devices, and teaching them some gardening skills. The library's adult book club will also be discussing The Anxious Generation at the library on May 7th from 6 to 7:30. Thank you.
Very good.
Questions for Trustee Unger? Another secondary committee of the Health Department is Healthy Mind, Healthy Greendale. Trustee Feckmeyer, did you have any updates on that or not?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that we have 2 outreach events coming up in Greendale. Well, the first one is Monday, April 21st. We're going to have a booth at the Greendale School District Teacher In Service. And then we are also going to have a booth at the Clean and Green Day, which is May 10th.
Thank you. Questions for Trustee Feckmeyer? I see none. The next committee report is Public Health, Welfare, and Safety meeting. Trustee Sell?
Nope, no meeting since the last village board meeting.
Okay. I did notice that the flashing stop sign on 92nd and Grange from the last meeting you conducted did go up already, which a couple residents did notice already.
Good.
So that's very good. And appreciate you bringing that up at your meeting, Trustee Sell. Thank you. Park and Rec Committee, Trustee McFall.
We did have a meeting last week, Wednesday, and just some of the highlights. Again, J.C. Park, Community Center, all very excited about it. The CLC Education and Recreation Guide was mailed to all residents, and it actually came 2 weeks early, so that was very good news. And Park and Rec registration starts online for residents on Saturday, May 3rd, and the Summer Adventure Club reached its maximum of 300 students of this morning. So, I mean, remarkable. I mean, again, very happy He's very excited about the numbers for the new book that's, people interested in the new book that's, that just came out, so.
It was a good book.
Yeah, he's got a lot of neat stuff in there, so, and everybody, I shouldn't just say Park and Rec. The whole book is very well done, so, thank you.
Questions for trustee McFall? Anything from the video? Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Public celebrations, trustee Olet and Feckmeyer.
We did have a meeting, and we mainly really just talked all about what we're going to be talking about with the, all the events that are listed below. And the 4th of July parade is coming along really nicely. There's going to be some new groups, new dancers. Rachel's working really hard on that. And that was really about it, because public celebrations, we don't do a lot of the events anymore. So mainly was talking about all these events. Any questions?
Questions, trustee Olet? Or trustee Feckmeyer?
She was there. Oh, no, you weren't there.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for the committee reports, everybody. Under old business, I have permission from President Siborowski to make a motion to approve the village president's appointment of trustee Unger to the Children's Garden Committee as a voting member. And the Children's Garden is the traditional Children's Garden is here. Remember, we're splitting off another one later.
Second the motion?
Okay, congratulations. I have to take the vote, by the way. I'd like to,
Well, just informationally, so the Children's Garden Committee right now is working on some bylaws, and they had a meeting just last night. So at a future meeting, upcoming meeting, expect to have some bylaws for the board to approve for the Children's Garden Committee, which will officially reflect a village board liaison, as well as some additional new clarifying details. And then at another future time, I will probably need to update the ordinance relating to the Children's Garden Committee so that it meshes with the bylaws. So those are some of the changes that are coming forward, but in anticipation, as we previously spoke about it at a previous meeting, Trustee Unger willing to serve in that role, and I believe has already gotten involved with attending those meetings.
So what's the other committee called now?
it's going to be called the Daffodil Park Committee.
Because
Yeah.
that one, Robbie's gonna be on, right?
Yep, and so we'll have that on tonight's agenda with the ordinance to create that committee.
Yeah, okay.
And then at a future time, we'll fill that roster with members.
Okay, perfect.
I'd like an affirmation roll call to appoint trustee Unger.
Trustee Barbian?
Affirmative.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Abstain.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye,
Congratulations, another committee.
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, another committee.
another committee, good job.
4, 5, 6.
And she's taking over mine also. Under new business, discussion necessary action on an update to the 10-year road and infrastructure plan, BOT 2538.
Good evening.
Thank you.
So this past March, village staff and we reviewed all the PACER ratings for all the roadway segments throughout the village. We do this on a biennial basis, just to kind of keep tabs on roadway condition and if certain roads are degrading at different rates compared to others. This also helps us with our annual reporting to the Department of Transportation and kind of keeps us in line with requirements with them and allows us to apply for state grants for roadway projects moving forward. After this roadway evaluation we kind of adjusted our 10-year plan just based on some of the things we saw. It's outlined in the staff report, but some of the main changes were we moved Sussex from 2033 to 2027 due to its poor condition. Dahlia, Daffodil, and Elstead were moved from 2027 to 2033. Basswood and Shamrock were moved to 2030 from 2029. And finally, Manchester was moved to 2029 from 2030, and we mainly did this obviously from these roads are in poor conditions and some we can push back, and we also tried to keep a balance of village expenditures per roadway, kind of keeping that even keel throughout this 10-year plan. In addition to the staff reports, we did come up with a more refined cost estimate based on the early iterations of the 10-year plan for 2026. The proposed project as of now is rehabilitating Southway from Broad Street to State Trunk Highway 36, Loomis Road. This would be more of a rehabilitation, kind of similar to what we did to both segments of Edgerton in previous years, and then also including doing Ramsey from Loomis Road to 51st Street. And that would be a true reconstruct project. The main thing we're seeing with that roadway segment, there's a lot of natural springs over there, so there's a lot of subsurface drainage that isn't being addressed, and this is really leading to premature deterioration of that roadway, so that was something we'd address with this roadway reconstruction project. As you saw with that estimate, as of right now, this is a preliminary estimate. We haven't started design, but we just wanted to try to get a better picture of what the cost for that project would be, and it would be right around that 3.3 million mark. In addition, we were told that the board may be interested, the village may be interested in constructing a sidewalk from Sendex to Clover Lane. As a standalone project, this would be roughly around $56,000. If we did incorporate it in the 2026 road project, there would be some cost savings realized as a contractor is already mobilized in there and doing similar items. Finally, as Manager Hawes added this morning, we were notified by the Department of Transportation yesterday that we did receive another round of federal grants through the carbon reduction program for a street lighting project. So this would be replacing 55 street lighting units in the A section near Village Hall. Design would take place in 2027 with construction in 2028. So, is there anything you'd like to add, Ron?
Just that in that cost estimate for 2026, it does include that sidewalk portion that was discussed earlier.
Thank you. It does.
So it's already built in there.
Yep.
If you wanted to take it out, we could. If you list it as an alternate, like Jade said, there would be a little bit more of a cost to it.
You're talking about the Sendex sidewalk?
Correct.
North side of Southway.
Gotcha. Questions?
Yeah.
Trustee Younger first.
2 questions. So the work along Ramsey, will that work help prevent the streetlights on Ramsey from automatically turning on in the middle of the day?
No.
It doesn't involve any of the
wouldn't
lighting
No.
issues over there?
No.
Okay,
The transclosures in a spot, that's a real bad spot, and we removed and trimmed trees over there.
right,
The only way would it to ask a resident to remove their buffer so more sunlight would hit there.
right.
When we do look at the Eastway project and look at the street lighting, one of the plans was to try to get a photo I brought over onto that pole that's on the Eastway side and by the O section.
Okay.
So that it would get the light and not turn the lights on as soon.
So not this project, it would be an Eastway project?
To add on to that, yes. So as a
Okay.
part of the 2025 street lighting project, that issue was addressed for that project. That should be moving forward this summer into 2026.
Okay. One more question. Will, along Ramsey, there's always the water main breaks right on one of the O streets over there. Is this work going to address all the water main breaks?
No, this project for 2026 would be strictly road work, no utility work outside of necessary storm sewer improvements due to the reconstruction of Ramsey
Okay.
would take place. So no water main would be touched.
You know which ones I'm talking
Yeah, so
about?
from those concerns, we moved that Oxford to 2028, which it was in a later year. I think it was 31 or 32.
I think it was
Oh, okay.
2030.
So we
yeah.
moved it up, so now that's scheduled for 2028, so Oxford will get replaced with water main, and that'll solve that issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Feckmeyer-Sell, do you have anything?
No.
Trustee McFall?
Quick question, the sidewalk from Sendix to Clover, was there ever to look at it to just extend it a little bit further to match up where the crossing is with the signals, the hand signals there? I mean, just that small little strip? You know what I'm talking
To go
about?
all the way to
From
Loomis?
Clover, from
So
Clover to in front of the community church.
Right.
Because people cross there it would be easier for people to cross with the signal there. I know there's a crosswalk on the end of Clover that crosses over to the other side, but is there any possibility of that would connect all the way past the Veterans Memorial, then past in front of the church, and then that everybody could actually stay on one side, so if they were walking to Sendik's.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there's going to be then that small section in front of that church that will
Right.
not have sidewalks. You might as well go the full distance there.
Right.
Yeah, that can be easily added to the project.
Because, we talked about it at the safety meeting about how everybody actually really uses that and stops for pedestrians at that
Yes.
push button or the signal there. So I thought the other day when I was looking at that, I go, I hope that we can maybe just add a small piece in front of that church and continue it. Plus, again, people walking from almost where Colleen Feckmeyer lives, all the way past, you can stay on that side of the street, so, okay, thanks.
I'd like to say I clearly support the sidewalk that Trustee McFall brought up, the Sendex, and I would like to ask you, as the chair for tonight, to do some cost estimates to add the area that Trustee McFall had been mentioning to the new cost estimate that would come forward.
Sure.
Do I need a second on that?
So is there a motion to approve it yet or no? So, I think we should, I think the plan should be adopted, and you can include that in the motion to add that estimate to it. We will, we're getting our capital plans updated this spring. We'll take another look at them again in the fall when we update the budget, so we'll have updated numbers by then. I'm sure this is probably, maybe 20 grand or something, or less than that to add this.
To add that additional piece of walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, conservatively 20 grand, most likely less.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'll make that motion.
okay, so you can, make the motion with that.
Any other questions in regard to this topic? I'd like to make a motion for the village board to approve the village's updated 10-year road and infrastructure plan as presented, and to include a new cost estimate for the portion of the sidewalk that we just discussed.
Second the motion?
Any last comments? If not, I would ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye. I think Trustee Feckmeyer might have had.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But-
We're going to back that up.
That's okay.
Trustee Feckmeyer, no.
Started voting.
All right.
I just, that sidewalk, we should maybe think that through, because that cuts across that green space area, and it's gonna end up right in the entrance to the parking lot for Sendik's, which is kind of crazy if you've ever gotten gas there. I'm not sure it'd be safer, so just take another look at that.
I have it up here on a map. So are you saying, so right now there's sidewalk at the intersection of Loomis and Southway, so it could connect with that. It wouldn't necessarily need to go through the parking lot. Is that, you know what I mean?
Well, if you're talking going from the church to Sendik's, is that what I'm understanding? You're going from the church to the corner of Clover and Southway. Obviously, there's only a sidewalk on the north side of the, south side of the street. You're talking about putting one on the north side?
Correct, yes.
And it would go right there.
Yeah, that's gonna take you to the entrance
Yeah, Bill.
of Sendik's, which could be, now you got people trying to cross there. Almost seems more risky than crossing across Loomis where the crosswalk is.
I don't know, they both are bad.
Did you have something on that, Jay?
Yeah, I saw Trustee Feckmeyer brings up a valid point there. I can look into things we can incorporate in the design. I believe she's referring to the west entrance of Sendik's along Southway, on the north side of Southway. Because with this proposed design, if we did add sidewalk, you would be promoting foot traffic through that driveway entrance of Sendik's. And as she brought up validly, there's probably quite a bit of pedestrian traffic. So without some sort of, I guess we'd have to look at potentially putting in additional signage or something as a safety precaution if we wanted to do that. Because as of now, the way it sits in the existing condition, that sidewalk ends on the east side of that western entrance on the north side of Southway, so it doesn't promote people from crossing through the drive. I believe that's what you're referring to.
Right, it's very congested going in and out of there.
And they fly out.
Especially coming off, if you turn off of Loomis, there's a short span where if you want to go into Sendix or go get gas or whatever, it gets very congested going in and out of that parking lot. I wouldn't want to cross there. I'd rather cross that Loomis.
Nobody crosses there. They walk along the
I'll
road.
get you.
They do.
They walk around, yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. I didn't see your hand up.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Colleen. Are you done with your commentary, Colleen?
Yes, I guess so. I do, we're spending $20,000 to make it even a little more dangerous for people with kids and bikes and strollers.
Trustee Unger, you had a commentary?
I just had a quick comment on that. So it's kind of sketchy when you leave Walgreens too,
Definitely.
across the street, because when I go to Walgreens, I slow down because I know that sidewalk is there. I've ridden my bike on that sidewalk on the Walgreens side with my son. So it's similar to that. And I'm not sure that's any less busy. I think it's similar across the street, Colleen, don't you think, at Walgreens?
I think it's a little worse across the street at Sendix because there's a really narrow area between turning in and the gas pumps. And like I said, people coming off of Loomis, so if they're coming off of Loomis and they want to turn into the gas station or a Walgreens, there's not a lot of space between Loomis and those two entrances. I've never felt uncomfortable crossing at Walgreens, but I would feel a lot more uncomfortable crossing at Sendix and spending $20,000 to do that, so.
Trustee McFall?
The only reason that I brought this up as a concern is that it's not so much the crossing, it's the people walking from Sendix in the roadway to Clover Lane. That's the biggest thing. I want to get them off the street. So even if we could possibly maybe talk to Sendix and maybe instead of just coming straight into that area, maybe just loop it a little bit further up so it's not right where the cars are exiting or coming in, that might be a suggestion. But that's the only reason that I'm shooting for this to get this done, because somebody's going to get hit there. I'm going to tell you right now, walking in the road.
I've never seen anybody walking in the road, not that that doesn't happen, but,
I have.
All in the existing condition, right?
What-
How it goes to.
but yeah, maybe if you push the sidewalk up more towards the building and not crossing right at the road.
Correct.
Building or something, and then you would direct
With
through.
your permission as a second, and since my own negligence, I didn't see her hand up, I'm going to make a new motion
Okay.
here. I'm moving to approve the village's updated 10-year road and infrastructure plan as presented, and to please have you add some cost on the extension of the road, and to also please do a safety study as best as you can, or if you need some other help from any of our staff people, to find out if it, any way to make this as safe as possible, or if it even can be made safer.
I'll second that.
Yeah, we'll bring back a draft to go over and make sure we're all comfortable with it before proceeding.
That's fine. Yep.
And that cost will be separated out so we can see what it is.
We could request that,
Oh,
certainly.
We can do that, yep.
Certainly. Please add that to the motion. Okay, so now we're doing a new roll call on the new motion I just made. No other questions? Okay.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sal?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye.
Thank you for everybody's input.
Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation also. Next item is discuss the necessary action on a resolution authorizing an application to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for financial aid for Dale Creek Parkway Restaurants, BOT 2539. What did I say?
Restrooms.
Oh, I want restaurants there.
Well, you're gonna need restrooms.
I think it would look good there. Okay, I'm gonna change that to restrooms. Okay. I'm gonna make a motion, then we'll have a discussion on that. Move to approve the resolution authorizing application to Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for financial aid for Dale Creek Parkway restrooms/lavatories.
Second the motion.
I'm opening this up for discussion.
Is Mike going to talk about it?
I would love to hear
Yes.
about
I'd
it.
like to
Okay.
hear.
So as part of the village's 10-year park improvement plan, I believe approved early 2023, we included the construction of permanent restrooms at Gazebo Park, officially known as the Dale Creek Parkway, in the plan for 2026. Our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, specifically on page 57, recommends the addition of more permanent restroom facilities throughout the park system. Installing permanent restroom facilities behind the gazebo would serve both visitors of the gazebo and the Daffodil Park areas. We have a lot of people visiting the parks, as well as volunteering and working in those parks, as well as the many people who attend the downtown market and other community events. We also have larger events, which would still require some additional portable restrooms, but this installation, it would be expected to offer a more cost-effective and convenient public restroom solution, as it would be open seasonally during normal park hours. We do run into a lot of extra costs and staffing demands on the restroom trailers, which we can talk a little bit about as well. So this idea would be to replace the restroom trailers that are brought out on the weekends in the summer with the permanent restroom facilities. So staff has identified a cost-effective, high-quality solution that other parks have used, a precast concrete restroom building. So we found a specific model and included that in your packet from Huff Cut is the name of this particular manufacturer. And so this model includes separate men's and women's restrooms, along with a small storage room. The concrete interior finish allows more durability, low maintenance. We would have potentially like a seasonal employee come in and could spray it down to clean it. The exterior colors and finishes can be customized. So we included a cost estimate, initial cost estimate, and as well as there'd be about a $7,500 or so cost for installation of an automatic door locking system to schedule the doors. So total project budget estimate around $215,000. To help fund the project, staff would apply for a matching grant from the Department of Natural Resources, which could cover up to 50% of the total cost. If the grant is awarded, remaining funds would come from sale of the restroom trailer, which we estimate to be around $25,000 or more, as well as our annual allocation to Parks Improvement Program, which is $150,000. So that alone would cover the cost if we were to receive the grant. In the event the grant is not awarded, staff anticipates a portion of the infrastructure program could be incorporated to pay for the remaining amounts for the utility connections and the sidewalk connection that would be involved. So at this point, so we have an initial concept on a restroom. Again, the exterior can be customized. There are obviously other options for restroom buildings. So we're interested in some initial feedback on the project, knowing this will need to be bid probably early 2026. But at this time, I'm also looking for approval on a authorization, a resolution to go ahead and submit a grant application, which has a May 1st deadline of this year.
Trustee Alette first.
Okay, so, I mean, I definitely see value in having the restrooms there. You know, the restaurants are always complaining that they don't want people using their places to go to the bathroom. It's always a constant problem. But if we would get the grant, I would be for the project. I would not want to dig into our road budget because there's so many roads that need to be done. I would only want to do it conditional with the grant. That's my opinion.
And just to be clear, we have so we budget $150,000 for the parks program. We would get, I think, comfortably about $25,000 for the restroom trailer. So that would leave a delta of about $50,000 about a $40,000-$50,000 gap. We could also at that time decide that we want to do, try to find some efficiencies in the project itself. So I guess I'm just saying that the gap isn't so big that it would not allow us to do a road construction. You know, if the delta is, 30, 40,000, that's not going to be, it's not going to take away from doing another road, I guess I would say.
What's wrong with our restroom trailer?
I guess I'll ask the director if he could share some thoughts on the beautiful restroom trailer.
So
It is beautiful.
there's really nothing wrong with the restroom trailer. We got it around 2017, 2018, so it is coming up on almost 10 years old. We haven't had many issues with it. The issue on my department's end is the staff time that's involved in it. So every Friday, we'll start Thursday. Thursday, we have to put out no parking signs in front of the CLC so we can have a place to put it Friday. Friday, 4 guys show up for 2 hours to set this thing up. It's there Friday night, doesn't get used. Saturday for the garden market. If the concert series are going on, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday, 4 guys show back up to pick up the trailer, pick up the ADA ramps, and that's the most time-consuming part of it. Just on an average for just the garden market, it's $12,000 a year for my staff to put that thing out and pick it up. So that doesn't include the chemicals that we're paying, which are a few $1,000s a year, the staff time to empty it, refill it, and get it ready for the next round. So when Manager Haas said there's a $40,000 or $50,000 gap between what we've already budgeted, it would be a matter of years before it would pay for itself to cover that gap that we would be short. It's a facility that would be available 7 days a week. The CLC has events there. They have story time. There's other rentals that go on there. We look at it too as kind of a nice thing to have in place for the future of Daffodil Park. As we look in future years and we redo Daffodil Park, we would expect that there's going to be more people visiting that park and more people in the downtown area, and it would be nice to have these restrooms available to those for that, the public for those months out of the year. So there's definitely a benefit to it. I mean, eventually it will pay for itself, but the staff time that's involved in putting out and picking up the restroom trailer really is where the cost comes into play.
Trustee Feckmeyer, you have a hand up first.
Yes, there's a huge need for this, huge. I like the placement because when I met with the health department and the DPW director in Daffodil Park last summer to go over, some placement of some things we were adding there, it was funny because a woman came up and asked, where are the restrooms? So those people in that park, you need restrooms all the time. And our discussion was, we should have some kind of signage back here that they could go across the bridge to the Welcome Center for a restroom. Of course, the Welcome Center is not open on Mondays and Sundays, and this 24/7 is just so needed in both of those areas, the gazebo and that park area. And none of the shops allow bathroom usage, and rightfully so, because they don't need to clean up after a bunch of people that already shopping, and same with the restaurants. So, and I thought we did have a big problem with that trailer a few years ago, and you had trouble finding someone to fix it. I can't recall what was wrong with that. I think it ended up not being real expensive to fix it, but it's not gonna last forever.
The problem actually came from the manufacturer, so we didn't end up paying anything for it, but there was an issue with it. But like I said, it was a manufacturer's issue and it was covered, so that was a benefit.
But it was out of service for quite a while for that.
Yes, the company that the village purchased it from is in Illinois, so taking it down to Illinois, dropping it off, and then bringing it back.
Trustee McFall, I believe you were next, and then Trustee Mayor.
I have a quick question. I've seen these on Michigan side when Julie and I took a trip alongside there at all the observation points and kind of like little state parks. They had these. My question to you is, are these hooked up to our sewer system and water and everything, so it will have its own
Yes, so
Okay.
in part of that estimate, Jake had provided costs for tying into our sanitary, connected water, power, so it fully functional.
Perfect. That's all I would need to know.
Trustee Younger, I believe you had hand up next.
So I have a number of questions. My first one is, you mentioned, how it's placed outside the CLC. How many parking spots does it take up again? Like all of those?
Yeah, basically that first
8,
front
9,
row,
10.
that's, so about 10 spots.
Yeah. That's not good, especially on the weekends, but I understand why you put it there. How much life do you think you have left in the restroom trailer?
It's tough to say, I've never
Yeah.
had one before.
Yeah.
There's obviously things that can go wrong with it and will go wrong with it. There's heating elements in there, there's a hot water heater, the whole underside of it is heated. There's heating tape in there so you can use it in the wintertime, which we have in the past. I think that there are things that could eventually go wrong with it, and there will be maintenance like anything, like a car down the road. It will cost us some money.
Okay, and then a couple questions on the restroom on the screen, or the other one like it. Should it have gutters? I didn't see gutters on there.
Maybe that's something we can look at.
I just think about rain, and it causing damage to the ground around it or the sidewalks. Maybe it's not necessary. I think lighting on the outside would be essential. The one photo showed one light, this one shows two. I'm keeping an open mind, I'm just asking a question about all these things right away. And so this would be fully winterized. It could be used in the winter if we wanted to keep it open year-round, or no?
No, it'd be exactly like the community center's restrooms, that's
Okay.
3 seasons. So wintertime, it would get shut down.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Trustee McFall.
I don't want to be the sidewalk king tonight, but how do you get to it at that location? I mean, we have kids coming across from Daffodil Park, and I see there is a crosswalk because it continues behind the Clover Lane houses and everything. But are you expecting them to cross over like that bridge and then get to there? I'm not worried about the front of it off of Broad Street, and I'm really not worried about Schoolway. It's just, I'm worried about the kids coming across from the park and having to cross to go use the bathroom, because I don't think they're gonna go to the left, cross, and then over the bridge. I think they're just gonna come across and scoot across, so.
So the project budget included basically a sidewalk that connects to the right there, east to the existing sidewalk at the bridge.
Okay.
So you would use that sidewalk and then you'd use that crosswalk to get to the Daffodil area.
Okay, that's good. At least, somewhere. Because if they don't see somewhat of a sidewalk going to it, I'm just afraid they'll cross over, Schoolway. Just again, maybe I'm a worried grandpa. So.
No, since the sidewalk doesn't really connect very well from Broad Street, we wanted to make sure that there's got to be some accessibility to it. And so obviously it'll be on a concrete pad, and it'll have a sidewalk that connects over at least to that one at the bridge.
Yeah, it'd be nice, especially also too with people pushing strollers with little kids and stuff like that, so. Good, thank you. I'm good.
Trustee Younger.
Just one final comment. In the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan Survey, one of the things that our residents talked about were restrooms in the parks. That's what they feel is lacking. And then roads, we know the roads, of course.
Which, by the way, we kind of went over kind of quickly in the last item, but you saw in our 10-year roads plan, we have, between $2.5 to up to $5 million per year invested in the roads. So I know it's, everyone's favorite thing in Wisconsin to do, complain about the roads, but we're making significant investment, at least within what we believe our residents' means are. We study the financial impacts, the impact of, the debt financing and all that stuff. So I think we're all making a very concerted effort to make a sizable investment to our roads. And so I didn't want to overlook that. I mean, this is a pretty small project compared to that road's investment, so it's not necessarily choosing between them, and I know we don't want to, let any roads go to the side, but just want to make that point on that investment.
Trustee Fechtmeyer?
Just to be proactive, as Trustee Unger said, there should be a limit to how many people you can have in an event without having to add extra porta potties. Because obviously, 2 bathrooms cannot handle some huge event. They're going to have issues. And so we'll have to, down the road, some kind of stipulation, certain size event, they still have to have porta potties.
For sure.
Yeah.
Great point.
For sure, we couldn't have just 2.
I'd like to make a couple of comments which different from others, but I look at this thing as a want more than a need. And I know we've talked about, to back up, our auditors have said to us that, we're in financial, in a couple of years, we've got some things that we're going to have to be very careful of on spending. I also know that when we did our parks plan, it was contingent upon our financial situation that we had. So we may, depending upon where we are in a year or two, we may not have the money to put towards a project like this. I think that we have to be very careful on all expenditures that are what I perceive wants. Yes, I'd like to have toilets or restaurants in my case, but I think we have to be very cautious on something as we go forward with, rather than just, oh, we'd like this, we're going to get this. And with the grants, yeah, if we get the grant, it does change the footprint significantly. If we don't get the grant, I believe we should not go forward with it. We have a history of, if we don't get grants, we just go and spend the money anyway. And so I'm concerned on what we do. I don't know that this is the right time with what we've been hearing and what we know is coming. As we've said, a fiscal cliff in a period of time, unless we find some other revenues, if we find some other developments, which we hope to get. I don't know if this is something we should be pursuing right now. That's just my opinion. Manager, if you want to go next.
Just as a quick point on that, so we have been working with our financial advisors on our 10-year financial plan. It is the operating budget area that we have concerns with as far as a fiscal cliff. And so the operating budget is directly affected by things like maintenance. It is not directly affected by things like capital expenditures, even though it doesn't mean we want to go wild with capital expenditures, but it's just a separate bucket as far as the operating budget is the part that we are facing that fiscal hurdle in the projected 3 years or so.
But spending in all areas affects the whole budget. Doesn't matter what bucket it's in, it can be moved.
No, I mean, capital expenditures does not affect the operating budget. So what affects the operating budget would be the day-to-day maintenance type of costs. But capital expenditures funded through the capital improvement fund and through our financing program, that is separate from the general fund, and the fiscal cliff issue with our 10-year plan deals directly with the general fund side of things.
I understand what you're saying. It's just all money. I think we just have to be careful on everything that we do going forward. I just want to raise it as a concern because we've been hearing it for a while. Trustee Fechtmeyer, I see your hand up.
I think the savings is huge, just based on what Rod said with the what we're paying in help to run the truck right now. It's a piece of equipment. It's going to start wearing out. It's 10 years old. We're going to start having very expensive repairs on it. This is permanent. We're going to be saving a ton of money in labor. And just one other question about the building of it. Is it going to be handicap accessible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a men's room and a women's room, and each side has two stalls within it to toilet stalls, and then at least one of them on each of them is noted as ADA.
Fabulous. I think we're gonna be paying for itself in the long run. I don't wanna be penny wise and dollar foolish in the scope of the future.
I think the other thing that we need to consider is that we're not voting to actually build the restroom today. It's just to give them permission to apply for grant money, right? So I think we all agree that we want to see if we can get a grant for it and then see what happens and decide on the construction of it later.
Correct.
Well, Trustee Sell, that's a very good point. I just wanted to bring that up, that sometimes if we don't get grants, we just spend it anyway. And I'm concerned that we would do that again.
Right, because that's what.
And I hear you at that, but Elaine brought out a great point. We had that meeting for the community to come and tell us what they expect from our parks or from actual the village. And one of the top items was bathrooms. And I know what's gonna happen if we do this, the school's gonna get a little heat on this for J.C. Park
Right.
because of the baseball going on down in that area. So, again, I get what you're saying totally, but there again, Elaine brought up a great point, and, you know, it's what the people have been asking for, and I think something like that will overlook the needs, you know, that they would rather have this, or they would really like to have this, and, you know, don't mind paying for it at this point, so.
This survey did reflect that. I would just say that taxes, I think, are ones that drive everything. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do this down the road. Trustee Sell made a good point. We're looking for the grant.
As long as we're.
I just wanted to get on record that if we don't get the grant, I don't think we should just go forward with it without really thinking through. So I'm done.
Okay.
And I was just going to note, and I don't know if there's other projects that have been like this, but in the example of the community center playground where we did not get the grant, we did proceed with the project at the higher level, but we paid for it over 2 years versus in the 1 year. So while we did not get the grant, we went forward with the project anyways, but we delayed all our other projects for a year so we could use 2 years worth of funding to do it. So in a similar case, if we did not get the funding, we could delay other projects. If we thought this was an important enough project, we could delay other projects and, you know, combine the next year's funding if this wasn't important enough. And I don't think that's, you know, a reckless way of doing things by any means. It just involves saving money and delaying it for another year. So I'm not aware if there's any other projects that we haven't got grant money and we went forward with, but in that particular case, I think it was not an irresponsible move. It just delayed the project by a year.
And might I say, some of the other projects we had planned might not need the whole $150,000 that we've allocated in the budget.
Any other commentary on this? Then I would ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Parvian?
No.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Alette?
Aye.
Motion passes.
This is just gonna be, yeah.
Next item is BOT 2540, presentation on a Southridge Master Plan proposal. Did you want to announce them?
Sure, yeah, as a quick introduction, so we have a team here from Rinka. So over the past several years, we've been discussing the idea of a Southridge-wide master planning project. We've been waiting for the timing for our Boston Store project to be more further along in the process, which we are at today. We're also at a point now where we have the funds available to proceed with this project. We had 3 different proposals. We have invited Rinka in to present their proposal, get a better idea of what this project would do, what the advantages would be, or what it would bring for our Southridge area. And then also there's a scope of work involved, and the board can decide, you know, which components of the project we would like to proceed with, all of them or just a portion of them. We do have a closed session here at the end of the agenda where the board will have the opportunity, if you'd like, in closed session to deliberate or negotiate on the contract terms as well. So you do not necessarily need to make any action. In fact, it's not on the agenda for action in this part of the open session. So this will be a presentation from Rinka, and I believe this is Eric Main here from Rinka to make that presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Chair and members of the board, for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about us, how we work, show you some of our qualifications, some example projects that we think are similar to Southridge Mall opportunity, and then finish off with just going over our proposal, what's included, so you can ask any questions. Starting with your leadership team, so I'm Eric Main, Master Plan Practice Area Leader. I'll be the point of contact for the project. Each one of us have over 25 years of experience. And we're all beyond your team. One of us will be in every single meeting going forward. We're an award-winning practice. We continue to win awards every year. Wanted to talk a little bit about some differentiators, why we're the right team for the project. We're practice area experts, not just master planning experts. We're experts in mixed-use developments, in retail, multifamily, commercial development. We bring all that expertise to opportunities like the Southridge Mall redevelopment plan. We're feasibility-focused planners, so we think about not only the municipality and your desires, but we think about the local developers that will come to the opportunity. Thinking about feasibility first is how we plan every project. Our design process builds consensus, so we have some tools for community engagement, and really a great objective master planning process that takes emotion out of the mix and really talks about a consensus build across all the stakeholders. Finally, our expertise encourages action. So once we get to a plan, there'll be some renderings, visualizations, and a really powerful design that will hopefully get everyone excited to move forward and to engage with the vision. So I'd like to just talk quickly. We want to get to the proposal scope here, but we're just going to talk about a couple of project experiences that are similar in scope. Just starting with the overall fact that we're working in many municipalities around the region. Drexel Town Square, we're famous for designing, as well as Germantown, Watertown. We recently redid their Rock River District and their downtown Riverwalk experience. Saukville, we have a community gateway community, a vibrant downtown that we designed in Saukville. Lakeshore Commons in Oak Creek, as well as the Village Green Center in Pleasant Prairie, are all community master plans that we've executed recently, that you'll see in the news, that are continuing to gather momentum and move forward. We wanted to also identify a couple of other mall opportunities, mall redevelopment opportunities that we've been involved with. We had an interesting opportunity a couple of months ago. Milwaukee Business Times ran a conference, and it was a developer boot camp, they called it. And they picked three of very famous or well-known regional developers, Cobalt Partners, Mandel, as well as F Street. And those three developers, they asked them to assemble three design teams to come up with a plan on how to redevelop Northridge Mall. Ironically, or maybe unironically, our phone rang 3 times. All three developers called Rinka to partner with them on thinking through a development concept for Northridge Mall. So this information is available online. We created 3 really interesting proposals for Northridge Mall. I think the takeaway there is we're known for being great planners and how we would approach a project like a mall redevelopment. The next project is Regency Mall in Racine. This development we looked at in a couple of different ways. One is a much more robust impact, and the other is a much smaller impact. So the biggest image on the screen here shows the taking away about a half or more of the mall, just leaving some key anchor tenants. Yeah, what we did was we implemented a new community plan around a village green that connected to a Parks and Rec a green space to the east of the plan. And we developed a new community downtown mixed-use development with a lot of residential, retail, and commercial opportunities to really create a new, vibrant destinational experience. Along the bottom of this presentation, or this slide, you see some other studies. And this was looking at a more sort of precision or an approach that kept many more of the anchor tenants intact and looked at some more strategic opportunities for development parcels. So this was a kind of a heavy impact and a lighter impact proposal. Right now, this development is proceeding. They're just starting construction on many of those residential multi-family buildings. Finally, we wanted to talk about Middletown, Ohio. Middletown approached RINCA a couple of years ago now for a redevelopment of their mall. They're equidistant between Dayton and Cincinnati. You can see their location on the map there. And sort of similar to Southridge, they're slightly off the interstate, so they don't have that visibility right on the interstate. So that's one of the similarities, but there are many more. Here's a view of the site plan of the mall in Middleton, Ohio. And you can see a potential development parcel added to the mall boundary. First analysis we did was to understand how traffic flows around the mall. And we also know by experience many of these mall redevelopments that a lot of the infrastructure aligns with those patterns of traffic. So thinking about how we can be strategic, how we can also be visionary, but then not add a lot of additional cost for all the infrastructure work. So here we identified how people are arriving to the site, and we started to bring a big idea about, is there a way that we can start to bring some pedestrian connectivity and start to carve away at the center of the mall. And what we did was we implemented two plazas, a gateway plaza, kind of an arrival plaza, and then a northern plaza, which is more connected to some multifamily residential community. And then we connected those together by starting to carve away, like I said, at the mall and make some of it open air. And as we got more into the design and the vision behind this redevelopment, we started to fresh air even more of the center of the mall and create many more opportunities, front door experiences. And we really created these great experiential moments. So what we arrived at was really three plazas: a central plaza, a northern plaza, and an arrival plaza, which then allowed us to springboard into to great sort of destinational communities. So we have the community shown in that dark blue to the north is mostly multifamily with some mixed use, and to the south a larger office and hotel building, all centered around this idea of pedestrian connectivity, a walkable community, centered around these three destinational plazas. So maybe some of these ideas could find their way to the Southridge design exploration. We won't know until we get into the design. But we also wanted to share the next step after we created the master plan was to then do the visualizations and get developers and folks excited by the opportunity. So here you see those three destinational experiences in the three images across the bottom of the screen. So the more residential northern plaza, that center plaza that was once inside the mall has been carved out and to create this great arrival experience and entry points to all of the new development and redevelopment of the mall infrastructure. And then the image on the right showing that arrival plaza. So we want to finish with kind of a celebration of a really positive outcome related to a master plan. This is Drexel Town Square. This master plan was started in 2012, so just 12, 13 years ago. When we started the master plan in Oak Creek for a new destinational downtown and event space, Drexel Town or Oak Creek didn't have a downtown or a kind of front door or an identity. That was part of the importance of this project for them. And when we were doing this development, they talked about a 25 or 30-year time frame to execute the master plan, and we've executed all but one site for that master plan. So it shows that with a great vision, executable master plan, great things can happen. So with that, we'd like to apply. Thanks for the opportunity to just tell you a little bit about ourselves. Now we'd like to just talk about our proposal to you, what our process and what the deliverables might look like as we think about working together on the Southridge Mall development opportunity. So the first thing we would do is do a deep dive into your comprehensive planning strategies, really understand what the community has vocalized, what you've identified in your comprehensive plan. We would do a deep dive into the ownership boundaries in the ownership of the mall properties to really understand who the stakeholders are, make sure that they're at the table and we're all collaborating around what those strategies are. And then we would form, in the middle of this slide on the right-hand side, we would form planning principles out of the research and work that's already been done. Those planning principles, we love to engage the community in an activity, and this is included in our proposal. It could be in this room, it could be in another venue, to verify and validate, do we have the right planning principles, and help us prioritize those planning principles. Because depending on which planning principle is the highest priority will really change the outlook and the approach to the master plan. So let's all collaborate on this research piece and really understand what should drive a thoughtful master plan. Oh, and from there we usually take maybe the top 4 planning principles, and we'll go away and do a little bit more research. We'll bring back benchmark communities that are doing that well. We'll show you how others have created master plans around these priorities. So from there, we take our research that will inform our design, and then this just shows some examples of our deliverables. So we will do some diagrams once we establish those planning principles with you and the stakeholders and the community. We'll do some great diagrams, very clear and understandable diagrams. We'll make sure that we're all on the right track. Eventually, we'll get into the design of the infrastructure itself to understand what the new city grid is, the road sections. We'll get into that much detail. And then eventually we'll test fit each of the development parcels and opportunities so that we have the data and the bigger development summary data. And then finally, in the lower right-hand corner, we'll have a rendering and a rendered site plan of the master plan. So this slide kind of identifies what we established in the proposal as concept design. And then this slide shows some examples of what schematic design related to master planning would look like. So this here's where we bring the vertical, the look and feel, the storytelling around that plan. So we essentially would take that rendered plan and the parcel test fits with all of your feedback. We would take that vertical to start to show what the look and feel and vision of that community of this redevelopment of Southridge Mall would look like. And then finally, we would take all of that information and fold it into the PUD guidelines and design standards so you all can control how development occurs on the South Ridge property. So, I had 10 minutes. I tried to get through the information. I would like to open it for questions. But first, we just wanted to ask again, why should we do a master plan for the property? And I think it's really about, first and foremost, it's about bringing everyone together, all your community stakeholders, the board and the public, to really dream about the future. What are the possibilities? And if we don't pause and take that breath, we can't dream about the future. But most importantly, it's really about a successful master plan. So many communities that approach an opportunity without a master plan, development happens to them. Whereas if you have a successful master plan, again, this is Drexel Town Square, this is Oak Creek's master plan in 2012. And with this successful master plan, you can encourage the right kind of development, the right quality development, and eventually, this is now 12 years later, and everything but the parcel in the right-hand corner there is been executed. And we're actually working on that project right now. So, with that, any questions?
Trustee Unger?
I have two questions. I tried to figure out today, where's your headquarters?
We're based in Milwaukee.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I saw Fort Lauderdale.
We have an office in Fort Lauderdale.
But you are based, and you all live in the area?
We do.
So you're very familiar with Southridge?
For sure.
Okay. So when you talk about a master plan, Drexel Town Square was a vacant parcel. The parcel at Southridge has a mall on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the master plan a plan with no mall? Or is the plan with the mall? Or is it a plan with the mall and without the mall? Is it two plans? How does that work?
Great question. I think Mike and I had a conversation about this earlier in the week. He asked the same question. Included in our proposal would be to study both options.
Okay.
We're not going to make any decisions on if the mall stays or goes, but we can study both of those options as part of our proposal.
Okay, that helps. Thank you. And thank you for talking about the community engagement and how that would happen. That was another question, but you talked about, could be in this room. I support getting the community involved. They might ask for a hockey rink, but I think that's good that the community get involved.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, that before.
Trustee Olet next.
Okay. So you had said you were going to talk to the stakeholders. Does that mean you would talk to like Barrett Low and Southridge owners?
Yes,
or?
indeed, for sure. They would.
Okay.
We would invite them in, identify who those stakeholders are, invite them in as part of the process. Definitely.
Okay.
It's actually really important to the success of the plan is to allow all the stakeholders. They're all invested in.
Right. For sure.
In the plan.
I just wonder how that would work with Southridge.
Matt or Colleen?
Time to bring them in.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's-
I don't have anything. Thanks for the presentation and for also breaking down the proposal so we can, I guess, pick and choose a menu of services that we would like.
Okay, thank you. Colleen, did you have any questions?
No.
Robbie?
I'm good.
Okay.
Good. Nice presentation.
It was a nice presentation, and
Yep.
I look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Mike, did you have anything else to add?
Just one thought, you did not mention it, so there is an option to include some coordination with Greenfield. Greenfield owns the very north end of the mall campus, we call it the former tire center property, that type of thing. So that's also on the table, I guess, for us to consider. Do we want to incorporate that part into this master plan, which would involve, coordination with Greenfield, but something to consider as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be important.
I should have included a site plan of Southridge. To get all the way back here. Here we go. Yeah. we do quite a lot of work in Greenfield. We have a great relationship with them. It's something that we have, a lot of connections in the planning department and with the mayor that we could definitely offer that as a way of bringing them on as an additional stakeholder as part of the process.
I'd be for that.
We'd have to.
We don't want that thing sitting there.
So were you hired to do Regency Mall?
We were.
You were, okay. So, so that's an example of a mall that has property and stores. They're not totally tearing down Regency Mall, are they?
Correct. There are, I think, three main
Dick's
operators
or JCPenney
that are
or
continuing to stay involved. And there's actually a newer big box that has actually come to that site. So, we studied many different options, and that's the thing about a flexible planning framework. We will give you those options, and you can pick and choose which development opportunities you want to. You pick and choose your destination, I guess.
Thank you.
So this would be like a living document. You would stay with us through the process, or like how long would you, like if we say, well, we want that, then you change it, or how does that work?
That's a great question. I think we could work through scenarios, right? With if key anchor tenants are going to stay or may not, stay, we can work through those scenarios with you, and I think give you the kind of kit of parts as you have those developer proposals in front of you.
Because like you said, with Drexel Town Square, there was one part that was still being developed, and you're still with them with that project, or not really?
We are, yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, we would definitely, work with you to continue to update the plan if you want that.
Okay.
For sure.
And as Eric mentioned, one of the deliverables is that PUD, that design guidelines document.
Yes.
And so we would be using that as a tool to implement, and, we could go back to them as we need, if we need a stage about what the vision for that park area is, and then it would help that committee focus its efforts on projects to take place within that park.
Okay, I appreciate that. And the Children's Garden is, like you mentioned earlier, working on a set of bylaws. And it's going to help them in the future, and I think they probably felt they could have used bylaws from day one. Is this committee going to be required to put together bylaws as well? And should that be noted in the ordinance, or is that something that will be addressed outside of the ordinance?
I'm not aware, so the library board has bylaws. I'm not aware of any other.
The Friends of the Library has bylaws, and the Children's Garden now has bylaws. And since this is a committee similar to the Children's Garden in a way, do they need bylaws?
I guess that's.
Or is that for them to determine? I'm just trying to be proactive.
Yeah, and so I think that, in like the Children's Garden example, it sort of didn't know what they didn't know. Obviously it's
Right,
evolved into something that maybe they envisioned or maybe they didn't, but it's evolved into something where it has enough complexity that having some bylaws in place has made a lot of sense and it will be helpful for them. This, we don't know if it'll develop in that type of complexity. We have a lot of committees that operate without bylaws that, that are pretty, straightforward in what they have to do and how they're organized. So, at least initially, I don't know that we can say for sure, but down the line, maybe it would be, depending on how it evolves, I think.
Okay.
Did you have more, Elaine?
I think I'm good. I just want to be sure that the master plan comes before the board, because it just says approve or disapprove all plans, projects, fundraising efforts. So I assume that means the master plan as well. Okay.
I think everything will come before the board, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Colleen, Matt, any questions?
I guess I just would like to reiterate what trustee Angry said about coming before the board, because in the past, things have happened in that park without coming before the board. I just want to make sure that that doesn't happen moving forward.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think and part of why we're doing this is because we do have a lot of passion behind this park. We're working on a land transfer, the village to own the park. You know, we gotta get organized and we gotta, I guess, be on the same page about what that vision is. And so the village board knows what's going on and we're all working together towards the same, same vision. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other commentary? In that case, we do have a motion on the table. I would ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Alette?
Aye.
Motion passes. Committee is in your court now.
Get to work.
Next item is BOT 2542, discussion necessary action on a new lease with Grand Haven LLC for the historic Greendale Welcome Center. I'll make the motion ahead of time. Motion is to move to approve the new lease with Grand Haven LLC for the Greendale Historical Welcome Center.
Second the motion?
I'd like to open this one up for discussion, or any background that you might have would be helpful.
Yeah, just a quick background. So we're due to renew our lease with Grand Haven. Grand Haven is willing to do a one-year lease. We do have some concerns about going into multi-year lease just with unknowns budget-wise, operating budget-wise. And so this would give us the opportunity to evaluate basically our budget each year before signing on to an additional year. So this initial lease would sign us on through May of 2026, and then we can decide when we do the budget this fall if we'll be comfortable signing on for an additional year after that, and this lease would allow for two additional year renewals for a total of 3 years. The new lease just cleans up, adds some clarity as far as the types of merchandise to be sold, stipulating the village will not get profit at any time. This is any sales that take place are to help offset the costs. And then it also clarifies that entry doors are a responsibility. Does add that we have a formal basement storage area, which is great in the basement area of Grand Haven. And we do not pay rent as part of the deal, but we do have some common area maintenance charges. So the budget implications are, right now, it's about $32,000 per year for the village. Those common area maintenance charges are about $900 a month. The personnel costs that we have for a part-time receptionist and a little bit of finance department assistance is about $1,300 a month. We Energies is about $200 a month. Water is about $25 a month, and cleaning services $250 a month. So about $2,700 a month, and totaling $32,000 per year is the fiscal implications.
Good update. Thank you, Mike. Questions in regards to this?
I just think it's a very, very valuable thing to have in Greendale. I think that a lot of people go to it, a lot of visitors come there for information, and I'm glad, I support renewing it for a year.
I also support the one-year renewal, to see how everything shakes out throughout. I think anything longer than that would be not a good financial decision. Matt, Colleen? Anything?
I was just happy that we got it down to the 1 year renewals versus committing to multiple years, since we need to pass an annual budget. So.
Agreed, thank you.
Support it, yeah.
Same for me, and goes without saying, we're very thankful to Grand Haven that they waived the cost of any rent on this so that we're able to do this.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Okay, if I see no other questions, I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Affirmative?
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Alec?
Aye.
Next item is BO 22543, discuss the necessary action regarding a special event permit from the Greendale Education Foundation for the Schools Out event on June 11th, 2025. The motion is I move to approve the special event permit application from the Greendale Education Foundation for Schools Out, June 11th, 2025, is going to be presented.
I'll second.
Thanks.
All right. The Greendale Education Foundation, with sponsorship from the Greendale Community Alliance, has submitted an application for the annual Schools Out event. It's a family-friendly event, alcohol-free event celebrating the start of summer break and promoting healthy and safe ways to enjoy the summer season in Greendale. The event is scheduled for June 11th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and will take place on Broad Street from Schoolway to Crocus. Variety of activities, information booths, and participation from Greendale committees will be featured throughout the event. The village manager, police chief, and myself have reviewed and approved the application with no conditions, and the PCC approved with no conditions on April 8th. The fiscal implications were $777.40 for staff and materials, and that was sponsored by the Greendale Community Alliance.
Questions for Rod? I think this has been a good event for everything in the past, and certainly we always want the school to participate in events down in the village, at least I do.
Right, and Alex did come to our public celebrations meeting and explained everything to us, and public celebration approved it.
Trustee Younger?
Does that cover the cost of the Loomis overpass banner? So there's costs involved with doing that, right?
It's a separate permit fee that they have to pay for that.
Okay.
So that's not incorporated into any of the staff fees.
So that's the sign permit fee.
The sign permit and the banner fee are two separate ones. So you can either have the 8-quarter signs or you can have the banner, but there's a cost associated with it.
And how's that being paid for?
They pay for it. To obtain the permit, they pay for it up front.
With funds from Community Alliance or the Education Foundation?
However they determine that they're gonna pay for it, or they might not have a banner.
Oh, okay, because it said Loomis Road banner in their application. Okay.
Yeah, separate permit. I don't know
Okay.
if he's paying it for himself or he's paying it from the school.
Okay.
I see no other questions, so I would ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Farkmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Alec?
Aye.
Next item is BOT 2544, discuss and necessary action regarding special event permit application from the Greendale Lions Club on behalf of the village for the Family Fourth Fest on July 2nd through the 5th, 2025, and declaring the event a Public Celebrations Day. I will make a motion to approve the special events permit application for the Family Fourth Fest, July 2nd through 5th, 2024, and declaring the event a Public Celebrations Day has been in the past.
Second motion?
All right.
Or is yours? Thanks.
The Greendale Lions Club, on behalf of the Village of Greendale, has applied for a special event permit for the annual Family Fourth Fest. The event is scheduled to take place at Gazebo Park on the following dates. July 2nd and 3rd will be from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. July 4th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., obviously with the parade in the middle of that, and July 5th from 11 to 11 p.m. Features will include a carnival located just east of the middle school in the green space, live music performances at the gazebo, food and beverages provided by the Greendale Lions Club and the Greendale American Legion Post. DPW will assist with setup starting June 29th, and once the event has taken place, we'll assist with breakdown from July 6th to the 8th. The Greendale Lions Club requested that the event not be designated as a public celebration, but however, the village manager, police chief, and myself recommend approval of the application on the condition that it is declared a public celebration. This designation aligns with changes implemented last year, which support the request of local businesses and minimizes the need of police involvement in addressing complaints related to individuals entering or exiting the festival grounds with alcohol. The Public Celebrations Committee approved the application on the 8th without any conditions. So there's roughly about $4,500 in costs for our staff time and materials, and then this being kind of a village event or a civic event, no costs are passed along to the Lions.
Good update. Questions for Rod, from anyone? So phenomenal event. We're very glad to have it moving forward. I'll ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Aye.
Trustee Alette, do you want me to take this one or you?
Yeah, you have to.
Next item is BOT 2545, discuss and initiate action regarding special event permit application from the Greendale Entertainment Association and Greendale Lions Club on behalf of the village. Village Days, August 7th through the 10th, 2025, and declaring the event a public celebrations day. I would make a motion to approve for the village board the special event permit application for the Village Days, August 7th through the 10th, 2025, and declaring the event a public celebrations day. Rod, floor is yours.
All right. So the Greendale Entertainment Association and the Greendale Lions, on behalf of the Village of Greendale, have applied for a special event permit for the annual Village Day celebration. The GEA details festivities will take place Thursday, August 7th through Sunday, August 10th. The GEA will be primarily hosting their event in the municipal parking lot and the green space located east of the middle school. This area will feature live music, food trucks, and family-friendly activities. On August 9th, that's a Friday, the GA will also have live music at the gazebo from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., in addition to their live music acts that will be at municipal parking lot. Free shuttle service will be provided for attendees. The shuttle will run from the Greendale High School to the event site, Friday, August 9th from 6 p.m. to midnight, Saturday, August 10th to 3 p.m., August 10th, 3 p.m. to midnight, and then there will be no shuttle service available Thursday, August 7th, or Sunday, August 11th. The Lions Club details part of Village Days. They will be doing their annual Rummage on the Green. The festivities will take place on Saturday, August 9th at the Gazebo Park from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. As previously discussed, the Lions has decided to run the event, has decided to run the evening concert at the Gazebo Park during the Village Days. This year's event is expected to be significantly larger than previous years. The Lion Clubs plan to utilize all available green space at Gazebo Park to accommodate a greater number of vendors. During the vendor sales, live music will be at the Gazebo Park, food and beverages available for purchase from the Greendale Lions Club and the Greendale Legion Post. The car show will also take place Saturday, August 9th. During the Rummage on the Green. The car show will be held on Broad Street from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. DPW will assist with the Broad Street closures and the opening. That'll go all the way down to the north entrances of Grand Haven and Broad Street. Both GA and Lions Club will submit vendor information in advance to allow to complete all required background checks. Additionally, same as the 4th, they did not request this to be a public celebrations, but the village manager, police chief, and myself are recommending the approval of the application and the condition that it is declared a public celebration within the village. The designation aligns with changes implemented last year, which supports the request of local businesses and minimizes the need for police involvement in addressing complaints related to individuals entering or exiting festival grounds with alcohol. Fiscal implications, same cost, around $4,500. Once again, this is a civic event, so there would be no cost passed along to either groups.
Thank you for the update. Trustee Alette?
The GA need to state that on Friday, that there's going to be, the beer and wine during that 4 to 8 time period, or would that be when we apply for the liquor license? I didn't see it mentioned.
Did you have that in the original application? I don't think.
Yeah, we talked about it, we're gonna have a mobile
Yeah.
bar there, but I just didn't know if we need to specify that or not at this point.
I don't know, because the whole event's going to be considered a public celebration, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true, so it doesn't really matter. Okay.
I think you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, then the alcohol will have to be dealt with separately with the clerk, so. Doesn't have to be specified.
Put on the form when it's just dates.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure.
Trustee Younger?
I have two questions. I always say this wrong, bollards, are they going to be used between Schoolway and Crocus during any of this, during Village Days for safety?
Yeah, so other than the car show, when we close down Broad Street, they'll be used. We'll still use them on the south side of Broad Street, but the car show extends further than where we would have the bollards installed, so
Okay.
we'll either use cinder blocks or trucks on that north side.
Okay. And question for Trustee Olet, how are sponsors going? Do you have sponsors for the shuttle? Do you have sponsors
Don't have a
for?
sponsor for the shuttle yet. If you have someone, let me know.
Oh, okay. Other sponsors?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right, great.
But we are looking for a sponsor for the shuttle. Hopefully we can find one so we can have one.
Okay, great, thank you.
Bring your own bus.
Yeah, bring your own bus, there you go.
Trustee Feckmeyer, Trustee Sell, any questions?
No.
Just to clarify an earlier point, in the report, their Lions Club opted to not do the evening concerts this year. They're doing the big rummage on the green, Gazebo Park, but not the evening concerts. They decided they were going to, because they are taking on Oktoberfest this year. That's between Oktoberfest and the 4th of July. Those are going to be their, concert night type of thing. So just want to make that clear for anybody.
That is, I'm glad you did that. It's clear we need more things going on that weekend.
Yeah.
That's why GEA is going Friday night, just so people know that there is, Village Day is going on.
Sounds like a fantastic time. I'd ask for a roll call.
I need a second.
What?
I need a second.
Oh.
I'll second it.
Now I'll ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sell?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Feckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Olet?
Abstain.
BOT 2546 is an asked to assess and necessary action regarding amendment to the special event permit for downtown markets to allow outdoor sales during the event. I would like to make a motion for Village Board to approve the amendment for special event permits issued to the downtown market to allow businesses on Broad Street to display and sell merchandise during the market hours on condition that a minimum clearance of 3 feet is maintained at all times.
Second the motion.
Any background needed on this?
Yeah, so Anne Marie Pierce, we've been communicating with her and getting information out to the businesses just about this year's market, that it has moved down a block. And so one thing she had asked about was businesses. I think she heard from a couple that might be interested in doing some sales just to get some foot traffic in their direction. And talking to Director Haas about it, we thought it would only be a good thing to allow the businesses to get involved. And so Anne Marie from Grand Haven mentioned that this would just be for the market hours. They don't permit it. They're not going to regularly permit it outside those hours. And they would also ensure that they wouldn't obstruct the sidewalks that are there. So again, from a staff perspective, we think it's a good thing. We did talk about whether, each business should go through the outdoor display and sale permit separately. But in speaking with Director Wolfgram, decided, since this is a very event-specific thing, doing it as an amendment to the special event permit probably made the most sense.
Trustee Olet?
I just find it odd that, we've been asking this for years. Why did this come up now that they want to come out, number one? And number two, what is the feedback that we're moving the market from there to the new location? Are we getting, I've heard mixed feelings on that.
Well, that's exactly it. There's no one opinion. There was some that loved it here, right here, and there are some that didn't. And I think the same is going to be said for it moving down a little bit of the ways. The advantages to moving it down, the block down, is that regardless of the businesses, we can use the park area for people to sit in if they're, eating or something like that. We can have the music playing, light music at the gazebo. And then we can also take advantage of the event bollards that will be on that block that will be able to more efficiently put up and take down. So, we still think, and hopefully it does alleviate some of the congestion that are directly in front of the businesses, but at the end of the day, it's not, universally, there's no one opinion, there's multiple opinions,
We just can't win.
But as far as Anne Marie, I guess, as a spokesperson for Grand Haven, they're in support of this change. They're good with it. This is just a way to kind of, throw a bone to some of the businesses that might miss it being down a block.
Right. I encourage that for sure.
Colleen, first.
I think it's being more driven by Anne Marie wanting them to have the option. It is difficult for those businesses to do any kind of outdoor sales because it takes extra people, and they don't have extra people a lot of times. So hopefully, because we're making it easy, maybe some of them will be able to do that because I think it will be a nice draw for them.
Yeah. Thank you, Trustee Steckmeyer. Trustee Unger now?
Should this include the businesses on Parking Street?
Yes.
So then I would like to amend the motion to include Parking Street.
Well, it's a Grand Haven business, right?
It says businesses on Broad Street and Parking Street to display.
That was my question I was going to ask too, yeah. Because Barb's place would definitely.
Right.
I was going to ask that too, actually. No, it's a great point. I think, people are parking there and walking back and forth, so that'd be great.
What about the businesses between Crocus and Schoolway? That's owned different owner. And I would say that Grand Haven does own the sidewalk, so that property is theirs.
They're just professional. You talking about the offices south of
Sugar and
gazebo?
Flower?
Or are you talking about
Sugar
Pop?
and Flower.
Yeah.
Sugar and Flower, I think they're going to come out.
That's I think that's all private
Sugar and
property.
Flower, might.
Except for that easternmost part of the parking lot. I think that's all private property anyways. But as an exception to the outdoor sales permit, if we're,
We could ask.
well, we do have, the way it's written is that businesses on Broad Street. So right now it's businesses on Broad Street, we could add Parking Street, and then we're covered, any business on the streets could.
I'd like
Okay.
to add a amendment to my motion to add Parking Street on it. Do I have a concurrence from the
Yep,
second?
I'll second that.
Other feedback?
I think it's.
Could we send them, the businesses, some kind of letter? I mean, obviously Grand Haven and Rio make them know that, but just like Sugar and Flower, do you want to let them know that they have this opportunity is to maybe promote them doing this? Sugar and Flower might do their cookies outside or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep, yeah, we can do that.
We just have a quick question just regarding the change with the market. I had a question from one of the stores that said how, were they notified that the market moved? Did we send an email to them, or were we supposed to communicate that to them, or?
Yeah.
Was Anne Marie supposed to, or what?
Well, we got the information to Anne Marie, and then she has disseminated to the businesses.
Okay, because they said they didn't know.
I mean, I know it just happened recently,
Oh.
but I know it has happened, that she got that information out to the businesses.
What about the businesses south of Schoolway? Do they know that it's going to be in front of their area?
Not unless they've been following our, I guess the magazine's not out yet, newsletter, goes directly to residents. So no, not unless they've been following online stuff. So, I guess this would be an opportunity if we're gonna send a letter out about the outdoor sales stuff to let them know what's going on with the market this year.
Okay, that'd be great.
I think it'll be fun. It'll be something new, and again, you probably remember this, that years ago, that the village would have Maxwell Street Days, and everybody would bring their stuff out in front of the store, the hardware store, everything, all the way down, and it was for sale. So, yeah, it was fun.
Yep, Drew's.
Yeah, Drew's, Tom's Hobby, all that.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, Tom's Hobby was a good one.
yep.
I don't remember.
Very few people remember that, never mind.
I don't.
I know,
I remember Tom's.
we're old. Yeah,
Good start.
You're next to the bank.
I will ask for a roll call.
Trustee Barbian?
Aye.
Trustee Sal?
Aye.
Trustee Unger?
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Alec?
Aye.
Next item is BOT 2547, discussing regarding village manager's second quarter goals and objectives.
All right,
Manager
I
Hawes.
sent the board members my, the quarterly goals update, and there's just a few projects I was going to, with updates to highlight, and then open up to any questions or ideas for future objectives. So one thing I was gonna mention, we are working on the land swap proposal with the county on the transfer for the village to acquire a portion of the Dale Creek Parkway in exchange for the Grudemont Nature Preserve. We do have agreement on some basic terms, but we will be putting together a more formal document that would go through the Plan Commission. So we're shooting for May 7th on that, as well as then the village board with a public hearing on June 3rd. So we will be ramping up that public process of things. And then the county board, they got a green light from their board earlier this month, I believe, and then they would bring back that formal documentation for approval at a meeting in June as well.
Do we know what time that will be, the June 3rd meeting, the public hearing? I've had people ask me.
That will be just at a regular village board meeting,
So just
so
at
6 o'clock, yep.
Okay.
Our Director of Inspections recently completed a nice guide to opening or expanding a business in Greendale, so that's available here at Village Hall or on the village website, but offers a bit of a checklist for all the different things involved with opening a business or expanding a business. It's a nice addition. We've talked a lot about historic preservation, so we've adopted the ordinances on April 1st, and so now we will be looking to filling the new Historic Preservation Commission, so we are accepting applications or letters of interest on our website, and so we've gotten a few of those already, and staff will be providing those to the village president, who will then make recommendations to fill the Historic Preservation Commission, so I would assume over the next couple months, we'd get that filled and then be able to start planning the first meeting. Relating to a couple months back, we talked about some specific uses. So this was kind of an offshoot from the big zoning ordinance. We talked about looking at a variety of specific uses, not just vape stores. And so this was referred to the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission went through a list of uses and advised staff or directed staff how they would like to address some of these uses in our code. And so staff is in the process of drafting an ordinance that village attorney will review and then will likely present it to the Plan Commission at the June meeting. So it's definitely not as long as the last zoning ordinance, but it is a bit extensive. It will require some attorney review on some specific items, but that'll be making its way through Plan Commission the next couple of months. Those were the main things I wanted to highlight, but open to any questions or comments from the board.
Trustee Unger.
I might have missed it in my quick review, but are you still thinking about doing another community survey?
Yes, that is in here somewhere. I didn't have any updates on this quarter, but I did add it to the list for this year. And yeah, down on page 5 near the bottom, so conducting a community-wide survey this year as a follow-up to the 2022 one. Probably looking at that being a second half of the year thing, just with a number of other projects starting up right now. But yeah, definitely on the radar, and then we'll bring, I'm sure we'll have plenty of discussion about the content in that survey.
Okay, and are we still distributing welcome packets to new residents?
We are, in fact, a local realtor provides us with a list. They get a list of new owners of homes. So we just got an updated list that covers the tail end of 2024 and up until today. And so then Brooke in our office, she puts together a nice packet that she sends out to them. We're in the process of updating a couple of things that go in that packet, but yeah, I would say sometime this month you'll get that those packets out to those people that moved into Greendale over the last few months.
Great. And anything on Bank of America?
Not that I've heard.
Bank
They have their. You've seen some activity there.
Bank was all flat and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they have their permits, so they're ready to go. So we know that it seemed like getting amped up to try to break ground in the fall, and then decided to pause. And so I assumed here in the spring they'd get going. So we'll probably see something soon. I'll ask Paul if he heard anything.
Okay, thank you.
They have new fencing up.
Fenced in.
That just
I know.
came up, so.
Yeah, so it was just the snow fencing, right? And now it's an actual chain link fence that's up.
Yeah, so it's moving along.
Excited for our 12th bank.
I know, and no one's excited about it, I'm
They
sorry.
pay property taxes.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
I know they do.
questions, Colleen, Matt?
No.
Nice presentation, Mike, and lots of goals on your list. There's a lot you didn't mention that you're still working on. I think everyone needs to recognize that this is about a 5-6 page document that you're working on a continual basis, so people don't think it's just a few things on your plate, besides managing the entire village, which is a challenge in itself.
Which you do very well.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
thanks, but we have the best team, so that makes it easy. Best team of department heads, great board.
So thank you so much.
Nice to hear.
Questions, any officers' reports from any trustee?
We got Chief.
Oh, Chief. Couldn't see that, this one wasn't my fault.
I have two quick things to share with you. I've shared with Manager Hawes, and he asked me to share it with everybody else tonight. The EMS funding from the county and the state numbers came out. To be advised for the county, that's the money they have 2.5 million that gets divided by all the Milwaukee County paramedic systems. And I'm happy to say Greendale increased from last year by $10,000. So this year we're getting $77,923.14. Again, that's up from $10,000 exactly from last year. The formula they use is by population served, which with all the communities that never changes. The second part of the formula is by square miles served. Again, throughout the communities, that doesn't change. And the third component is the transports that we have. So our transports have been going up throughout the years. Other communities have gone down. So we are one of the communities that got increased funding from the Milwaukee County by 10,000. Compared to about 5 years ago when we were at 11,000, so now we're at 77. That's the first good news. Second good news is from the state, the FAP money, which is the Funding Assistance Program, which every year Melanie and myself get a form that we have to fill out. She has the really hard part. It's a 10-page report. Hers is 1 page with her signature, and to verify the population, which is very hard, then I have all the math to figure out in the 9-page survey that they send us. We always get between 6,000 and 7,000. It's, again, from the state, $2.5 million split up with all the EMS transports in the state. And there's about 357, if I'm correct, private fire department-wise ambulance services in the state. However, the emergency medical services have been pushing with the state of Wisconsin for more funding. This past year, it went from 2.5 million to 50 million. So then I'm thinking, okay, our piece of the pie somehow has got to get a little bit bigger, and it did. From 7,000 or 8,000, it fluctuates from year to year. We got 64,000 this year. So that's above and beyond what we were planning ahead of time. So we're happy about that. It gets split up between training and supporting equipment. The training and equipment money stayed always the same, which we already have that earmarked for our, it's called Target Solutions. That's our paramedic training online, where we have certain things we have to watch, videos, we have to take tests yearly to keep our license up. And then the support for equipment went up from 4,000 to almost 64,000 this year.
Wow,
So-
that is awesome.
And yes, I have plenty to spend it on.
Can I just
Nice
ask
job.
how the training
Nice job.
facility's coming along?
Training facility is, again, moving along. The weather is going to determine when they're going to come and paint. And then still, you'll see a big roof prop that V-Metals is building the framing for right now.
What about, is the inside done with the
Oh,
kitchen?
yeah, all the inside's done, all bedrooms, there's kitchens, there's living rooms. There's the side with the police door for forcible entry and breaching. They have to build the 2 little patios yet
I'd like
because
to
the
see it.
steps are real big. So we're waiting on V-Metals to complete that as well.
Great, thanks. You going in?
You can't smoke.
Thank you. Nice update, Chief. Anything else from any? Just want to say all the reports were real thorough, as they always are. So appreciate everything. I always look forward to getting those when they come. So I think we all do. Next, I'm going to move into the second citizens' comments. Persons wishing to address the board are asked to state their name, address for the record, and limit their comments to only one time. Limit their comments to 3 minutes or 5 minutes if representing a group of persons. Citizens' comments shall be limited to a period not to exceed 15 minutes. Public comments should be addressed to the village board as a body. Any questions or comments directed to an individual trustee or staff person will be deemed out of order. Please note that the village board can only discuss matters listed on this agenda. Public comments is open. Sally.
Hi, my name is Sally Chadwick. I live at 5321 Morningside Drive in the wonderful village of Greendale Historic. And I'm here today with Jackie.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I don't know your address.
Jackie Kramer, 5729 Clover Lane.
There, C-section. Okay, we just wanted to say and how much we are excited about Daffodil Park. Thank you so much for going forward with this movement, and I think it's going to be great. I look forward to seeing what's going to be developed there. So whatever we can do to help, we would like to do that. Our first step was just to give you this little brochure. Take a look at it. It's just virtually, it's just some suggestions. And we hope that if it's something that tickles your fancy and that you like, that you will get back to us. Okay? Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
I'm going to take a turn. Jackie Kramer, 5729 Clover Lane. The question that came up with the bathrooms, I just hope that you guys would consider, the ladies' line is always longer than the men's line, and I don't know if they can divide up that building, so maybe it's 60-40 or 70-30, so the lines would even up. So that was a suggestion. And I live on Clover Lane. I have been asking for a sidewalk from Sendex to the church since Sendex went in. I see it probably more than anybody because that is my path out. And it's always in bad weather. It's when it's raining and it's muddy, it's when it's snowy that people walk on the street. They are too lazy to cross the road just to cross back. I have seen children walking on that in the snow when it's slippery, and it is a miracle nobody's been hit yet. So I hope you really do decide. Now, having that sidewalk go up maybe behind the garbage containers, Colleen mentioned having a sidewalk go up instead of across the driveway, might be a great idea, but we really, really, really need this sidewalk. So thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. Other citizens' comments?
Joe Russ, 168, excuse me, Joe Russ, 169 West Shadow Drive, New Berlin, representing 559997 Basswood Street. Kind of interesting that Tom's Hobby Shop was mentioned. I never got to go there, but I do remember it, as I have a model that my mom bought my dad back in the day from there. So Tom's Hobby Shop does live on in memories and in merchandise. There was a comment made previously regarding the bathrooms, and that if you don't get a grant for something, you don't go through and do it. You're spending $150,000 in park budget money on a community center park, which was supposed to be only $150,000 plus the grant money. You never got the grant, so now we're spending $300,000 on that. So for those that may have the attitude that, well, we don't spend money unless we have a grant for it, that's not true. Thank you.
Thank you. Other citizens? Do we have any? I'm going to close citizens' comments then. Rod, you're still a citizen? Okay.
Citizens.
Actually, all right. Citizens closed. I'm going to make a motion for the village board to go into closed session. Board shall convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Section 1985 1E to deliberate and negotiate the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. Specifically discuss proposals for Southwich Master Plan. The board does reserve the right to return to open session to act on any matter discussed in closed session or to act on any items listed on the agenda.
Second the motion?
Okay, then we are going to go into closed session in a minute or so. Go ahead, have a roll call.
Trustee Barbian.
Aye.
Trustee Sell.
Aye.
Trustee Unger.
Aye.
Trustee Beckmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Trustee Alette.
Colleen and Matt, I will rejoin this in just a moment.
Right? I think so.